Welcome everybody to PowerCat 4. This is Lee Zuquette and I work with the PowerCat team. Today we're going to be discussing SAP, but before we dive too deep, let's discuss where we've been. First we discussed what is SAP and how it helps our customers and their business processes. Next we discussed SAP and the user experience and how Power Platform and Power Apps can help our customers focus in on very specific tasks. But today we're going to be discussing SAP and the connectors. I have George Newton, a senior program manager from Microsoft, with us today. Welcome, George.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been working with SAP and the Power Platform.
Oh, okay. Well, I started my career as an SAP consultant and did that longer than I really want to say. I joined Microsoft about a year ago and have been working on the Power Platform ever since.
Excellent, excellent. So let's really dive into connector or the SAP connector. Can you tell us what it is, why we use it, and something about building up to it? Why does a customer really need this SAP connector?
Sure. Many customers have the requirement to integrate with SAP and other systems. Power Platform is an excellent way to do that as a platform. But the problem really was being able to get data from SAP, show it in Power Platform, interact with it, have the user interact with the various screens, and then be able to communicate back to SAP with updates or any kind of changes to SAP data. So the limitation before within Power Apps and the Power Platform was that the connector was not as easy to use. There was actually more than one version of the connector, and now we've got a unified version of it with lots of little features that make it much easier to use and much easier for a flow maker to sort of put together a flow that's going to make of the users in their system more efficient, more accurate, and just have a better experience overall.
Excellent, excellent. I know at one point we'll discuss, where the SAP connector may go, its roadmap. But for now, let's jump in and can you show us a demo of how to use it and what it can do for us?
Of course, yeah, it's actually very easy. We can see here a list of the solutions. The one that I'm working on now is the SAP Integration Public Preview. So all I have to do is go in Edit Mode. You see the list of all the objects that are included here. Obviously, we're talking right now about environment variables, which is our way of communicating with a specific SAP system. You can see here for this solution, we have 3 environment variables already created. The creation process is actually really easy. You just go New, More, Environment Variables. And this is something that you just type in a name here, EV Demo. And just a matter of choosing text as a data type, and then pasting in the default value field the JSON blob related to the SAP connection attributes. I'm no expert in all the setup information, but we do have some of the SAP property guidance on being able to add the right values. Not all of these fields are required, but some are, and this will allow you to create an environment variable that is reusable and assignable within your flows. The benefit of this is obviously for every step, every time you call SAP, you don't want to have to re-input, let's say, an IP address. It's all sort of baked into this environment variable, and then anytime you need to call SAP, it's just a simple reference to this one, in this case, EV demo reference. So you can see, discard changes here. This is one that we'll be working with later, is the SAP development. We'll take a peek in here, and you can see the JSON blob I was referring to. And again, that's something that doesn't need to be done more than one time. So it's sort of stored right here. Let's go into the SAP integration. So you can see here the apps that we have within this solution. We have sales orders and purchase orders. Today we're going to be looking at sales orders. So I'll go in edit mode. You can see the layout of the page. Okay, great. So to look at the flows for the sales order app, all we have to do is go to Power Automate, and you can see the list of flows that are already tied to this one app. Just as an example, we will look at read customer. Even though we're talking about a sales order here, there's sometimes a benefit to bringing in customer data. So you can see, let's say, ship to, sold to, all the information related to the partner that's involved in this sales order. Okay. Before we actually take a look at the existing step for read customer, I'm going to show you how easy it was to create it. Just a matter of clicking add. You find the connector that's involved. In this case, we're connecting to SAP. Click on that. We have choices as far as which action to take. Because we're doing a simple read of a single SAP table, we have a dedicated connector for that function module, RFC read table. It's this one here. When I click on that, it gives me the fields that I need to make this connection. So it's a matter of selecting the environment variable that we looked at before, SAP development. All those connection attributes are baked into that one environment variable. We don't have to re-input those. The table involved, since we're talking about customer number, is KNA1. Let's see, maybe I need to type that, KNA1. And at that point, it's loading all the fields from KNA1. So I don't have to go into SAP. I don't have to look up the table definition. I just need to know the table name. And with that, I can give the field names that I want to put in. Customer number. So if I want to use, let's say, customer number here, KUNNR, I didn't have to know that technical field name. I searched for it by the description, the field label. So if I want to look for the address number, I can do the same thing. I start typing in the technical field name. I guess I could have done it like that and found it the same way. I can specify the number of rows I want to return. So maybe 999 is a limit I want to put on the number of possible rows. And then I want a where clause. So it's just a matter of me inputting. And again, we have a way of adding dynamic content. So if I want to specify the customer number here, I just type customer, and that comes in. That's actually even easier than I made it look, but there's really not much to it. All the formatting related to the query to SAP is handled by this action within the SAP connector. And if you want to see the finished product here, it's pretty similar to what I put together. So the same connection reference to the environment variable, KNA1, a handful of fields here. And then there's that statement that actually, the where clause, that ties the input customer number to SAP's database.
Thanks for the first part of the demo, George. Is there another action or piece of it that maybe we can dive into?
Definitely. We looked at the first piece that was for RFC read table only. A lot of times you're going to want to use a standard remotely enabled function module that does some other function in SAP. For example, update sales order in this case, obviously. And again, this flow has got one SAP step in it. It's just calling the standard SD sales document change function module. You can see the environment variable reference once again at the top, specifying the RFC name, and then populating the required fields along with any other data in this more complex API that needs to be communicated to SAP in order for the update to take place. So it gives you a template, everything that SAP can accept dynamically for this specific function module. If I had picked a different function module, dynamically it would show different fields.
I love how the SAP connector brings simplicity to SAP, but SAP is still a complicated scenario.
Definitely.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that second part of the demo. What is coming up? So we just released the SAP connector update. What is on the roadmap?
Sure. Well, for sales orders and purchase orders are the first templates we rolled out. We're looking to round out our offering with other templates within the SAP space. These are familiar functions and familiar areas for many SAP clients. The thing is, the template itself could be used as is, or could be modified by a customer or an implementation partner to sort of best fit the needs of the Power Platform customer.
And I guess the key word there is it's a template, like you said, as is, but more than likely they're probably going to tweak it for their own purposes.
A few things in SAP work directly out of the box.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much. Looking now that we have the SAP, we have this idea of the templates coming out, and how do our enterprise users really focus in on SAP? I mean, when it comes to it, do they use the whole tool? Do they use pieces of it? How do you see them using this?
No two SAP implementations are exactly alike. I think some users may have a very specific function where they want to simplify something, let's say for a call center. The idea there is to bring a minimum of data back to a screen and have the call center user efficiently review customers' information, be able to talk to them, and make quick updates to a user's account, let's say for a customer service issue. Other customers may have more complex screens they need to build, things where you're combining multiple SAP functions into one place just to improve accuracy, to improve throughput, better user experience. So that's sort of the spectrum. So you've got, and not to mention, let's say in a more complex scenario, you might be bringing in information from more than one system, not just SAP. In that case, you're doing a comparison or something like that. So it's really valuable in that way. So I would say from the most complex scenario you can imagine to something that's really straightforward and just something done for user experience, ease of use, single sign-on, just kind of the most simple way of doing something as possible.
Excellent. And I really want to point out again your comment about it's not even just SAP. There's other data sources that people bring together, and the Power Platform really helps them merge or integrate all of that across the board.
Right. I was just showing two flows there. They both happen to be connecting to the same SAP environment, but any one flow could have multiple steps with multiple connections. So and obviously one let's say call from Power Platform could involve more than one flow. So the possibilities are endless, but the idea is like making it actually doable and quick to implement, which is I think a major problem with most SAP projects.
Yep, that's my understanding as well. It's a complicated scenario, and again, the Power Platform helps try to simplify that and make it as efficient, task-based as possible. Excellent. I really appreciate your time and working with us to go through this, the demo and discussion. And I'm sure we'll try to have you on PowerCat 4 again at another date.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody.